Now let's focus more on the spectrum of light. The Roy G. Biv: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. As I've said earlier, yung longer wavelength from left to right, which is shorter na yung sa right side, ganun din yung application niya for the spectrum of colors. So again, lower frequency to higher frequency, and then the symbol is F. Then as shown here, big na yung F sa kabilang side. So ibig sabihin, maliit na F, lower frequency. Malaking F, higher frequency. Longer wavelength to shorter wavelength. So that's the symbol of lambda. Bigger, then naging smaller. So if we're going to read this once again, lower frequency means longer wavelength, or the other way around also. Longer wavelength, lower frequency, low energy. Higher frequency, shorter wavelength. Higher frequency means higher energy. So kahit maliit yung, or shorter, yung wavelength niya, mataas naman yung energy. Ganun din naman dun sa other side, sa left side. Mababa yung frequency niya means lower energy, pero although mahaba yung kanyang wavelength. So this is the spectrum colors. The Roy G. Biv once again. So yan, that's the spectrum. Longer wavelength to shorter wavelength, from red to violet. Longer wavelength indicates, again, lower energy, while shorter wavelength, higher energy. Lower frequency down to higher frequency, from red to violet. O, tingnan natin yung images for the wavelength. From left to right, pinakamahaba na wavelength yung red, while the violet has the shortest. So the symbols goes like this. Ayan, kikita nyo siya. Paliit ng paliit. But, kabaliktaran ng energy or frequency. Pataas naman ng pataas. Ayan. Kaya, ang violet natin, diba, malupit siya kasi malakas ang kanyang binibigay na energy. Kahit siya yung pinaka-last or nasa ilalim ng rainbow colors, diba? Siya yung most bent, yung baling-bali. Yung red naman yung hindi masyado nabali. Kaya nandun siya sa taas. Okay, next. Ayan. Let's do activity number 2. The comparison of red versus violet. So, ganun pa din yung materials natin, old CDs, flashlights, or cellphone flashlights. So, may kita natin dito yung parts, the crest, then the trough, no? So, yun yung symbol ng wavelength. Nakikita nyo. Crest to crest, one wavelength. Trough to trough, one wavelength. It says here, in figure number 4, number 3, light waves travel at a given velocity and wavelength. So, wavelength is very important because it relates to energy. And in figure 5, you see here, lower energy from left to right, which becomes higher energy. So, we have here, in number 4, the charts. Colors of light, nanometer, and refractive index. So, the refractive index or indices of the different colors of light indicate that light of different colors travels at different speeds in the prism, which accounts for the different degrees of bending. So, once na tumatama yung mga colors doon sa prism natin at nabebend sila, may different bending or degrees of bending sila. So, 7 colors yan. So, 7 different degrees of bending. The greater the index of refraction, yun yung letter N na symbol sa third column sa baba, the greater the index of refraction of a medium, the slower the light travels in it. So yung violet, yung comparison ng red to violet, yung violet yung may pinakamataas na refractive index or index of refraction, 1.530, while the red 1.512 lang. So yung violet ang may pinakamataas na index of refraction, that means mas mabagal siya kaysa sa red. So if we study the wavelength, mini-measure siya, naka-nanometer siya, no? 650, yung red, yung violet naman 400. So, it shows that the red has the longest wavelength among the 7 colors of light. In activity number 3, we see here the visible spectrum. Ayan, yun nandun sa baba. So you're just going to examine the figure below, and then you write the frequency, wavelength, and photo energy. Frequency has a unit of hertz. O, yan. So hertz yung apelido nung nag-propose yan or naka-discover. And then wavelength, nanometer. Kaya yun yung unit niya. And then photo energy or EV. So may makikita natin dito, violet yung nasa taas, red yung nasa baba. Again, yung violet, yan yung may pinaka-shortest na wavelength, 400 nanometer lang siya, pero siya yung may pinakamataas energy by 3.1 photo energy. Ayan. Check your understanding. So, based from the lesson presented a while ago, connect how these concepts are related to the following phenomena. So, ito na yung application, no? Lagi natin tinatanong why sky is blue, why sunset is red or sunrise, and how rainbows are formed. So, pipili lang kayo dito. May tatlong statements dito, and then may missing part. So, ilalagay nyo if it's blue, sunset, or rainbow. Andyan din yung explanation why sky is blue, why red, sunset or sunrise, rainbow formation. So, tingnan natin yung sa blue. Nakalagay dyan, as the sun gets lower within the sky, its light is passing through more of the atmosphere to reach you. As a result, most of the blue and violet get scattered before they reach our eyes. Because of this, the less scattered light, like red or orange, reaches our eyes, making the blank color red. So, let's say, red, sunset or sunrise yung tinutukoy niya, no? So, yun pala yung dahilan. So, tingnan natin. Let's remember, again, light is also known as visible light. Refers to electromagnetic radiation that can be detected by the human eye. Kaya nga siya tinawag na visible. Is for our eyes. Sunlight. It separates into totally different colors known as the color spectrum. Once it passes through a prism, the spectrum consists of the colors of the rainbow: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. RGB. So always remember that. Dispersion is the refraction of light into a spectrum of the wavelengths composing the light. It's a special kind of refraction that splits white light into different colors. In a prism, the different colors of light bend at different degrees. This indicates that each color of light travels at different speed. So, the more na masiksik siya, the more na babagal siya. The more na malayang nakakagalaw ang particles, the more na mabilis siya. Kaya nga yung vacuum sa outer space, ang bilis, diba? 8 minutes lang, nakarating na yung light sa Earth. Thus, each color has different refractive index. Violet light, which appears to have the greatest refractive index, refracts most and appears at the bottom of the spectrum. Ibig sabihin, siya yung baling-bali, bent the most. While red is the least bent. Kaya siya nasa upper. So, hindi siya masyado nabali. The colors of the visible light have different wavelengths and frequencies. The wavelength of each color decreases from red to violet while its frequency increases. So, yun yung relationship nila. Okay? From red to violet, left to right yon, wavelength decreases. Yung frequencies naman, increases. So, yung energy naman niya is also increases from left to right. The frequency of the colors of light is directly proportional to the energy it carries. Ayan, nabanggit ko na kanina, no? So, yung red to violet, left to right yon, habang yung frequencies nila nag increase ganun din naman yung energy nag-i-increase din. So, higher frequency means higher energy it carries. The red color with the least frequency has the least energy, while the violet with the highest frequency has the highest energy. So, ito yung itsura ng glass prism natin. Each color in a rainbow corresponds to a different wavelength of electromagnetic spectrum. So, nakikita natin yung red, and then yung violet, and the other colors as well, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo. So, this is the prism. Ayan, as you can see here on the example, may nangyari dyan reflection and refraction. Sa rainbow, the white light passes through the water droplets kapag umuulan to and then nagkaroon ng dispersion of light acting as a natural prism, and then it bends, nag-disperse siya, naglabas siya ng 7 different colors, the RGB. And then nag-reflect din yung arc ng rainbow dun sa clear water. So, nag-bounce off yung light, nagkaroon ng incident light ray, and then reflected light ray. Kaya nakita natin sa mata natin dito sa example, yung image ng rainbow arc. Okay. And then last activity is the reflection on page 10. So, madali lang naman yan. 1, 2, 3 are facts. So, what have you learned about colors of light? And reactions 4 and 5. So, let's go back to the rainbow, no? Lagi natin sinasabi, or lagi sa atin sinasabi na there is a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Ang tanong, totoo ba yun? Pero may pinakatanong doon. May end ba yung rainbow? 'Di ba? The answer is wala. Walang pot of gold doon kasi wala naman end ang rainbow. Walang dulo. Dulo sa dulo, walang ganon. So, nakita nyo dito sa picture na to, almost full circle yung rainbow. Rainbows are actually circular. You don't typically see a full circle rainbow because Earth's horizon blocks the lower part. So, kung makikita nyo dito sa image, yung bandang bottom portion sa left side, no, na-block yung part na kung saan dapat matutuloy yung full circle rainbow. Ayan. So, yung mga gusali, mga air pollution, yan, yung mga motion sa lower part ng Earth, ang nagiging dahilan para mag-block yung circle ng na formation ng rainbows. So, doon naman sa blue sky, ito yung explanation niya. When light hits our atmosphere, it separates into all its colors. So, from white, magiging 7 bands of colors. Blue light scatters. Ayan, nakikita nyo na nag-i-scatter yung blue light, making the sky appear blue. While the rest of it, yung red, orange, yellow, green, indigo, violet, yan yung 6, dire-diretso natin, dire-diretso nagpapass through as white light. Ang nag-scatter lang yung blue. Kaya nakita natin siya as blue. Next, how about the sunset? What makes a spectacular sunset? At sunrise and sunset, when the sunlight travels farthest to reach the observer, particles in the sky scatter light with shorter wavelengths like violet, blue, and green. But light with longer wavelengths like red, orange, yellow, has a better chance of making it past the airborne particles and reaching our eyes. So, nakikita nyo dito sa image na nag-scatter na yung ibang colors, pero dahil yung red, yung may pinaka-longest na wavelength, siya yung makakaabot sa mata natin. So, during the sunset, yung pinakamahabang wavelength, which is red, siya yung successfully nakarating sa mata natin. Kaya, nag-appear na red ang sunset. So, to summarize, during the middle of the day, gas molecules scatter blue light more, making the sky appear blue. And at sunrise or sunset, blue light is scattered more. So, only the red, orange, yellow wavelengths reach the ground. So, pag nakarating na siya sa ground, nandun tayo, nakatayo, makita natin yung red. So, that's it. I hope you understand our lesson. So, let's try post-test. Number 1. Which order of color arrangement is from shortest to longest wavelength? A. Roy G. Biv. B. Roy G. Vib. C. Vib Gior. D. Biv G. Yor. Number 2. In the visible light spectrum, the longer the wavelength, the blank. A. Higher its frequency. B. Lower its energy. C. Higher its energy. D. Higher its refractive index or refraction. Number 3. In the spectrum, which color has the uppermost frequency and has the most energy? A. Red. B. Orange. C. Blue. D. Violet. Next, number 4. Within the different colors of light, which has the highest refractive index, of which is bent the most? A. Red. B. Orange. C. Blue. D. Violet. Number 5. Shortest wavelength, violet. Longest wavelength, blank. A. Red. B. Orange. C. Blue. D. Violet. Okay, let's check the post-test. Number 1, the answer is letter C. Violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. So, binaliktad na Roy G. Biv. Okay, so yung nasa dulo, yung violet, to longest, yung red. Number 2, in the visible light spectrum, the longer the wavelength, the lower its energy. It's letter B, boy. Lower its energy for number 2. Number 3, in the spectrum, which color has the uppermost frequency and has the most energy? So the answer is D, dog, violet. Number 4, within the different colors of light, which has the highest refractive index, of which is bent the most, yung baling-bali. So, yun pa din, letter D, violet. Number 5, shortest wavelength, violet. Longest wavelength, this time it's A, red. So, I hope you get 5 or at least 3, 4, up to 5. So, that's all for module number 5. I hope you learned something. So, do not forget to ask me, ask Ma'am Renz in the Facebook group and on the group chat if you have more questions about the light. Okay, thank you. Bye.